This story. Judgment expected in the latest bid by former President Jacob Zuma to have State Prosecutor Billy Downer removed from his corruption trial. This comes after Judge Piet Koen dismissed the application in October last year. Zuma's lawyer, Advocate Dalimpofu, says the former president now wants the matter to go to the Supreme Court of Appeal because he feels the case is being treated differently from others. eNCA senior reporter Siphamandla Goge following these developments for us. Let's get the latest from him now. Good afternoon. What's happening? What can you tell us? What's the latest in this case?
Well, we'll only know tomorrow when Judge Piet Koen decides to hand down his judgment on whether to grant or deny former President Jacob Zuma's application for leave to appeal an earlier judgment and decision by the very same High Court Division of KwaZulu-Natal sitting in Pietermaritzburg. And Judge Piet Koen last year dismissed the initial application by former President Jacob Zuma to have the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, removed from prosecuting his corruption trial. Basically, the former president argues that Billy Downer is compromised in the matter. He doesn't have a title to prosecute. He's not qualified to prosecute this matter because he's got a personal interest and vendetta against the former president. He's got an axe to grind. All those allegations have been dismissed by the state. So tomorrow we expect that proceedings will be very brief. Judge Piet Koen will hand down the judgment. Whether he will decide to outline the reasons or not, we will only find out tomorrow. But we expect that proceedings will be very brief. He will just come in, hand down the judgment, and if he decides to outline the reasons, he will outline those reasons as to why he has decided to rule in a way that he will rule tomorrow. So tomorrow is not really a big day in terms of former President Jacob Zuma coming to court, but we expect that at least some representatives from his legal team will come to court just to note the judgment.
Yes, Pamanda, I mean, you were there last time and you were following very closely the arguments for this to go to the Supreme Court of Appeal by the likes of Advocate Dalimpofu. For your sense, how confident are they that Judge Koen will change his mind?
Well, they are confident. They say a different court will arrive at a different conclusion. They are convinced that they have a case, and they are convinced that based on their arguments, they might emerge victorious or successful tomorrow. Because the gist of their argument really is that the initial court erred when it dismissed that application by former President Jacob Zuma to have the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, removed from prosecuting this matter. The gist of their argument is that the state, if Advocate Billy Downer leads this prosecution, will not afford the former president a fair trial, something which is very crucial and enshrined in the Constitution. And they say he will not get a fair trial if Billy Downer is leading this prosecution because he is a tainted character, a tainted individual, according to the defense or according to the legal team of former President Jacob Zuma. Of course, we know that the state has come out very clearly to dismiss all those allegations, saying, well, hang on, this is part of delaying tactics here. There's nothing wrong with Advocate Billy Downer. He's the best man for the job. They have termed him, in fact, their star in this matter, saying he understands the matter very well. He's been involved with the case for a very long time. He's got background information and history to the case, so therefore he's the correct person to lead this prosecution. On the other side, the former president's legal team has been arguing that, well, for now it may appear that their target is the state lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, but the entire prosecution's team, they want it gone because they argue that all those who are involved in this prosecution are tainted individuals. Of course, the initial application was dismissed. Now the former president is here. He has come back to the High Court sitting in Pietermaritzburg, asking the very same Judge Piet Koen who dismissed his initial application to say, please just grant me leave. Let me go to the Supreme Court of Appeal. Let me go state my case there. Maybe your colleagues at that court will find differently from what you have found earlier on.
Yeah, there's a little bit of impatience, I guess, as well, so to speak, on the state side, on the prosecutor side, because this trial is supposed to have started long ago, and even Judge Koen in the last sitting was saying he wants to get the trial underway. And the idea, though, is that if the former president does not get granted this leave to appeal, in this matter. What other options are we aware, as Siphamandla? Are you aware that they might use in terms of challenging a negative decision, or a decision that goes against their application tomorrow?
Well, the former president's legal team and his foundation are on record as saying the former president will exercise his constitutional rights. Legal recourse allows him to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal directly. So if he is not successful tomorrow, he can still write to the Supreme Court of Appeal to say, listen, I did go back to the court that dismissed my earlier application, my initial application. I asked them for leave to appeal. They've again denied me that leave to appeal. I'm coming to you, writing to you to say, please, just give me an opportunity, give me an ear, listen to my arguments. I'm convinced that you may arrive at a different conclusion. These are the grounds for my appeal that I want to bring to you. I feel that the initial court erred earlier on when they dismissed my application. If he is not successful there again, legal recourse allows him to go all the way to the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court. But there he would need to cite how his constitutional rights have been violated by this. So he still has few options, and all those options, they basically simply mean that he will have to petition directly, right to the Supreme Court of Appeal to say, my application has been dismissed, I'm coming to you, please listen to me. If he's not successful there too, he can write to the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court, to say, the lower courts have dismissed me, you are my last resort, I'm coming to you, my constitutional rights have been violated here, I will not get a fair trial, please listen to my matter. Whether he will be successful or not, but this simply means we are far from the start of the initial corruption trial of the former president, which was meant, by the way, to start on the 11th of April this year. But bearing in mind these appeals processes, it simply means that you will not start with the initial trial without concluding these appeals processes. Now, depending on what happens tomorrow, the former president has got legal recourse to take the matter all the way up to higher courts, and that is likely going to delay this trial. And his legal team has said, hang on, we are not responsible for the delays in the start of the trial. If there are people to blame for the delays, it's the NPA. On the other side, the NPA says, listen, this application for leave to appeal must be dismissed because it's a waste of time. There are no prospects of success. It will delay the initial start of the corruption trial. The former president says, hang on, I'm exercising my rights here. Legal recourse allows me to take these processes and these steps. I'm not doing something which is not provided for in the law. I'm exercising my rights. So there has been that, finger pointing in terms of who's responsible for these delays. The former president says, I'm not responsible. The NPA and the state say, hang on, you are responsible. These appeal processes are the main cause of these ongoing delays. And let's just get on with it. We want to start with the trial. You've been calling for your day in court. Now you have your day in court. The former president says, well, under fair and different circumstances, I'm willing to have my day in court.
Yeah, finally and very briefly, Siphamandla, as you are talking there, I'm reminded that the trial actually did in fact start when the president pleaded not guilty to all the charges last year, and immediately they made the special plea for the removal of Billy Downer. So what we are seeing now is like a trial within a trial, so to speak. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, Siphamandla. Thank you very much for that update, that preview ahead of tomorrow, the 16th of February, when Judge Kuhn is expected to make a ruling one way or the other in this matter. That's Siphamandla Goge there in Pietermaritzburg as we prepare for tomorrow's bid, the latest bid by the former President Jacob Zuma to have the state prosecutor Billy Downer removed from his corruption trial.